Hello my dear students, welcome to SR ICSE English tutorial. Today I will be doing line by line explanation of class 11 ISC syllabus Death of a Naturalist, a poem by Seamus Heaney. So if we first start with the explanation of the title, Death of a Naturalist. What do you mean by a naturalist? Naturalist is actually a scientist who studies nature. Now, this is a sort of metaphor. There is a metaphor in the title that we will discuss at the end of the poem. Now, death here does not mean a physical death. So, this title will be discussed after we complete explanation. So, let's start now. All year, the flax stem festered in the heart of the townland. All year means throughout the year. The flax stem. Flax is a type of a plant from which we obtain fiber, from which we get fiber just like jute. Festered means it decays. What decays? The flax. Flax, this plant is actually, dam here means not that dam. Dam here means a small pond, basically a man-made pond, or you can say a swamp where water is accumulated. Then these flax plant, those are immersed into the water and they get festered. Festered means decay. In the heart of the townland, in the middle of the townland, there is a flax pond where flax are rotted. Green and heavy-headed description of the flax plant. They are heavy-headed because the top part of the plant is heavy. Flax had rotted there means that dam. Weighed down by huge sods. What are sods? Sods are nothing but grass which is scooped out along with the soil. It looks like almost a grass carpet. Okay, so grass, they are scooped out along with the soil, which acts as a weight, which is heavy, and they are put on the plant, on those flax plants, so that it keeps immersed in the water. So it will help the plants to be drowned in the water. That is why these sods are used. Daily it sweltered. Sweltered means it kept on heating. Due to the heat and because the water is stagnant over there, the water is not flowing, so it gets decayed. So daily it means those plants sweltered in the punishing sun. Why the sun is called punishing? Because the rays are too much strong. The sun rays are very intense. The sun, it's very, very hot. And due to this decay, what happens? The bubbles gargled delicately. There are sound of formation of bubbles. And that is the sign, that is the signal that the flax plants are getting rotted. That means that rottenness is required, because as the flax plant will become rotten, will decay, it will become soft, and from that soft part we will get the fiber, just like jute. So after this they become rotten. So what happened? Blue bottles are nothing but a type of fly. Wove a strong gauze of sound around the smell. Smell means that rotting smell. So the blue bottles are seen. These kind of flies, they are seen surrounding the pond. They wove. Wove means they build a strong gauze. Gauze is a kind of thin fabric. That means together. When together the blue bottles, they accumulate or they gather on the pond or over the flax plant, they look like a thin fiber. Those flies together, they look like thin fiber. Then and they produce a buzzing sound. That is, the sound here is the buzzing sound of those flies around the smell, around that bad smell. due to decaying, those flax plant emits a very bad smell. So they are compared. So these blue bottles are compared to gauze, that is a thin fabric that covers the pond. Then there are other flies, like there were dragonflies, spotted butterflies, but best of all was the warm, thick slobber of frog spawn that grew like clotted water in the shade of the banks. So other flies are also found, like dragonflies, spotted butterflies having spot on their body. But best of all, here the narrator is a child, is a small school going kid, the narrator who has come to this place, and he is saying that he has seen blue bottle flies, dragonflies, he has seen spotted butterflies, but the best thing he likes over there is a slobber, thick slobber. Slobber is a jelly like thing, so of frog spawn that grew like clotted water in the shade of the bank. This jelly like substance is nothing but frog spawn. Frog spawn is the egg of frog. Egg of a frog, it looks like a clotted means clotted water, means clotted means in a clot, and water means the eggs look like drops of water together in the shade of the bank. Here every spring I would fill, I here means the narrator who is a school going kid. These are nothing between childish games, childish likeness, childish excitement. The narrator would fill, he would bring empty jam pots, or you can say jam bottles. He would bring them and fill them up with those frog eggs, and then of that jellied speck, so that from eggs look like jelly with spot, to range on windowsills at home, and he would keep one after another those empty jam bottles filled with frog eggs on the windowsills at home and on shelves at school. He would even carry those jam pots filled with frog's egg at school, and then what he did, he waited and watched until the flattening dot burst into nimble swimming tadpoles, and then slowly and gradually those eggs, they matured and they burst. Those dots, flattening dots means those eggs, finally they burst into nimble. Nimble means having a quick movement. If you have seen tadpoles, you will see they move very quickly. Those movement has been called nimble, of swimming tadpoles swimming inside the jam pot. Miss Walls would tell us how the daddy frog was called a bullfrog, and how he croaked and the mammy frog laid hundred of little eggs, as this was frog spawn. So Miss Walls is the teacher at school of the narrator. So Miss Walls at a junior level she explained the reproductive system of frogs. What she said, that daddy frog, who is also called a bullfrog, croaked, and then mammy frog laid hundred of little eggs. This is how at a junior level, or very easily in a very simplified way, she taught how frogs reproduce. You could tell the weather, even one could predict the weather by frogs, because in the sun, on a sunny day, the frogs appeared yellow, and brown in rain. On a rainy day, they would appear brown. This is how you can predict the weather. Now, next second stanza. This is full one stanza. Then one hot day when fields were rank means full, with cow dung in grass and the angry frogs. Now, first time when he visited, or the previous time when he visited, there were frog spawn, there were eggs. Now this is his next visit, where he sees one hot day. He has gone there on a hot day, on a sunny day, and then he saw, what did he see? That fields were full with cow dung in the grass. This is what he sees. Fields were filled with cow dungs and the angry frogs. Here the frog spawn has become adult frogs. The tadpoles, tadpoles have now matured into adult frogs. Now this is the last stanza we are doing. Invaded the flagstaff. Now invaded means when you attack, attacking to destroy something or to kill someone, that is called invading. So he is saying that the angry frogs almost invaded, they almost attacked the flagstaff, and due to the fear of those attack by the adult frogs, what did the narrator do? I ducked through the hedges to a coarse croaking that I had heard not before. So I ducked. Ducked means when you just sit down, when you just sit and you try to move through the bushes. Hedges means bushes. So he just wanted to escape through the bushes to a coarse croaking that I had not heard before. So what the narrator is afraid of? The narrator is afraid of how the adult frogs approached and their harsh croaking. The sound of their croaking, he became afraid. He did not have the idea that at the flagstaff, he just thought he again went to collect frog spawn, frog eggs. But this time when he visited, he found so many adult frogs around and they were hopping and croaking, and this made the child afraid. The air was thick with bass chorus. Bass here means resonant, that means continuous, echoing. Bass chorus. Chorus means together, the joint voice or the collective voice of the croaking sound, collective croaking sound of those adult frogs. Right down the dam, gross-bellied frogs. Gross-bellied, big, large-bellied frogs. That means these are full-size adult frogs. Were cocked. Cocked means sitting on swords. Swords, as I told you, on those turf of grass. Their loose neck pulsed like sail. Loose neck, pulse means their throat. Neck here means throat. Pulse means he could see the beating as our heart beats. Their throats were having heartbeats, were like sails. Sails means that bellows in the wind. Sail is a type of cloth, that is used in the ships to help in sailing the boats or ship, that the clothes help in sailing forward. The ship moves forward with the wind. So that sailing here means, when the wind pushes the sail, it just bulges out. So that bulge could be seen, that kind of bulge could be seen in the neck or throat of the frogs. Some frogs hopped, the slap and plop. These are sound. Slap and plop are sound, but those sounds were obscene threats. And to the poet or to the narrator, those sounds appeared as threats. He did not like it. Some sat poised like mud grenade. So some adult frogs, they were sitting poised. Poised means quietly. They look like grenades. It's a type of bomb, and because of their brown color or the muds on their body, they look like mud grenades, as if just now they will explode. Their blunt heads farting, blunt head making very violent noise. So some farting noise they were making. I sickened. He felt sick. He did not feel well. Seeing all these, seeing the scenery over there, seeing the adult frogs over there, their behavior, he started feeling unwell. Then he turned back and he ran towards home. The great slime kings, now those small slimy things, those eggs, they have grown into adult frogs, and they are, the poet addresses, the child addresses as them as great slime kings. Kings because now they are having the authority on that flagstaff, on that area, as if nobody will enter. They will stop, they will resist the entrance of anyone, any outsider. So their kings here means is a symbol of their power and authority. were gathered there for vengeance. The poet feels, the child feels that those adult frogs have gathered over there for vengeance, to take revenge. Why? And I knew that if I dipped my hand, the spawn would clutch it. And why he thinks that they have come for revenge? Because previously, on his previous visit, he has collected those frogs' eggs, and now those frogs have come to take the revenge for taking away those eggs. And I knew that if I dipped again, now he thinks, he is apprehending, he is apprehensive, he is afraid of that if he dipped now if he dipped his hand to collect the frog spawn, spawn means those eggs, again if he did it now, then what will happen? Would clutch it. Now the frogs will not leave his hand. So here the scene ends. So the last part, or in the second stanza, the first stanza, it's like a nature. The first stanza is just like description of, it's a natural scene. So those are the type how the flax plants are immersed into the water to get fabric. They will get softened, they will slowly soften, they will get decayed, and fabric will be obtained. And how a little child visit that place and collects, that's a childish game, like, fond of collecting frog eggs and then keeping it in a jam pot and observing how those eggs, they hatch and develop into tadpoles, and that is the scene he likes. And the second visit, he found a very disgusting scene, the frogs attacking, full means the flax dam full of adult frogs, their croaking sound, their approach, their chasing, and how he has described one frog as, or some frogs as mud grenade. So gives a very irritating and disgusting description of the frogs, and how they are ready for revenge from this child, because he has collected frog spawn, and now he feels that as if that they will not allow any outsider to go there to and take their eggs. So this is very scary, and we have to look this poem on in the perspective of a child, that it's innocent child who finds all this. It's a description by an innocent child. So when confronted with the harsh and appealing, means very harsh sound of the frogs. So death of a naturalist, as I told you in the beginning of the poem, beginning of my explanation, that naturalist is a scientist who observes nature. Here the poet or the narrator, who is a school going kid, here he is a naturalist because he loved this natural area, this with this nature. He loves to be with the nature, that flax dam, those frog spawn, and the total townland, those the pond there. So he loved there. That's a natural site, that's a natural place he liked to visit. And death here does not mean a physical death, but that innocence inside the child, it dies. That means he loses this appeal of nature. He loses to go, he loses interest in that natural site, in that natural environment, and that is why he loses interest and he thinks he will never come again. So in the first stanza, we have seen how nature is attractive to a child, and in the second stanza, the child becomes irritated, disgusted, and the appealing side of nature dies. So this innocence dies in the mind of the child, and the child means he moves away, he runs away from nature, and therefore it is called death of a naturalist. A naturalist is not a scientist, but the child who loves to visit a natural place, and how his innocence dies after observing a very, it's confronted with those adult frogs and those disgusting description that he is giving. So he feels irritated. The second stanza makes him scary, it makes him afraid. He's scared of those adult frogs, and actually his interest, basically he loses his interest in nature. That is why death of a naturalist. And one more thing is the survival, the reality. that survival. So the frogs also, they, when he is taking out that fox spawn, so the frogs over there actually they also, it's a reality of survival. They also needs to survive. So nobody wants to be any infringement by any outsider. That is their world, so they are also protesting. So this is the explanation. It's a relationship. This poem explains relationship between natural world and people, and every creature will protest because it's a question of their survival. And how, and the we have to read this poem in the perspective of a child, and how finally the child loses interest in nature. So this is it, and hope my this explanation will help you, and if you find it helpful, then please hit the like button and share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe my channel for further videos. Thank you.